Okay, welcome back to Wages of War, Quest for Glory 3. And if you recall from last time, we were actually in Uhura's hut, and we had just talked to Laban, who was pretty uninterested in peace. And we can have a brief conversation with Rakeesk and Uhura, but then we are going to have a small cut sequence, and then we're going to have a longer dialogue with Rakeesk, so I don't want to spend too much time with dialogue and waste too much of your time, but let's just exhaust what we can. And um, so I guess Uhura is related to the Laban to some degree, and we can just tell about our day, I guess. Theoretically. Okay, that worked. And they really don't care too much about what we did, but I'm just trying to kill a little bit of time. And we can ask about the spear. So pretty much as long as the spear death is missing, there's going to be bloodshed. And I probably should spend more time talking to Rakeesk just because we don't really get this opportunity for him to be in this hut, really, whereas Uhura is pretty much always here. So he's returning to Tarna. His hind legs bothering him. He has all sorts of excuses why he's returning back. When we talk to him later, he's going to say he's going to do it so he can be closer to Raja. Pretty much the reason is that we're the hero. It's our job to figure it out, and I think Rakeesk is past his prime. And there probably wouldn't be much of a game, actually, if Rakeesk was solving all the problems. And we'll ask him about his leg. His leg was injured by a demon wizard a while ago, and I guess it's never completely healed and always bothered him. As you recall, that was kind of an excuse he had for not being the Earth Elemental in Quest for Glory 2. His leg was bothering him. Yeah, we got a bunch of other things that came out with the dialogue tree. And we'll ask about the Demon War. We don't get too much information, I don't think, otherwise. And pretty much the demon army attacked Tarna long ago, and the Lion Taurs fought them, and I think Rakeesk did a good job resisting them. So, what's the war? And he's saying, so essentially, that there's going to be some problems, particularly that a lot of Simbani will be killed if there's actually a battle, and so that's another good reason for us to resist this. But Uhura is saying, hey, she's a Simbani warrior too. She's gonna go and possibly die if it comes to war. And he has said he's pledged his honor, so to prevent this, and also because she didn't come back to die in a meaningless war. And I actually tried to do another recording of this video and just mention that it is kind of funny how it's probably intentionally to some degree tying it to current political discussions. Probably not current, and by current I mean last 20 or so years. This game's been out for a while. Obviously, it didn't take into account recent geopolitical events. But anyway, let's continue on with the game. Let's ask about travel. He's telling us about exploring the jungles to the east of here. That's where the leopard men are. And you really can't just find it on your own. You have to wait till a certain event takes place before you can find it later on. We also have to be somewhat careful because we can't actually kill leopard men, particularly as a paladin, because we're trying to bring priests to them, but they will attack us, so we might see a sequence of that, but I think I'll have to restore beforehand, or save beforehand and then restore. Otherwise I believe we lose honor points for actually killing leopard men, which makes some sense. And he's talking about the Laban again. He thinks highly of him, but obviously we've had some difficulty. And last time I did this, it actually just kicked me out pretty quickly. So I don't know why. I think maybe when we talk about a certain issue, it will eventually know. I don't know why it should be moving to a next sequence soon. In any event, I don't want to take up too much time with this because there is some more dialogue. So, okay, here we go. We've been sitting around too much. Now it's time to go out to the village. And they killed a bullock, I guess, for Rakeesk. And essentially they don't want to animate the event that takes place. They did this in Quest for Glory 4, I think, too. They didn't really, or maybe they didn't. But some other of the games, they don't animate the actual celebrations, just tell you what's happening. And this one is no different. So we end up back here with Rakeesk, and that we were treated very well, apparently. And he's going to head back to Tarna, as we know, and we're going to try to win the trust of the people of the Simbani people. And we need their cooperation, obviously, to restore peace. So Rakeesk has a bunch of things to say, and I think we're going to just try to write out this video on his on his dialogue. And so there's a few things that are interesting, particularly if you haven't played the game before. We'll go through the honor, and he's talking about the different types of honor to different people. And the line towards it's a little bit more prideful. As for a paladin, it's pretty much about doing what's right. And I guess it's kind of a cool theme within the game that you're trying to be pretty righteous at times, even though there are some limitations to what you can do or can't do in the game. He's asking about pride. And he's saying the line towards really had that pride hurt from the botched peace mission. He's saying that he's given his word, and obviously we need to take that seriously because Rakeesk will not be long for Tarna should they go to war, and he is stripped of all honor. And I guess he'll have to go back to Shapir or something, which may not be what he is interested. Okay, and so he's just saying we have to do what we can to try to bring the peace. And we have... He's telling us about the mission. His daughter's on there that he believes that she is actually still alive. So let's see what else he has to say. Talk about being a paladin. He's telling us how the paladin way is sometimes difficult and lonely, and we have to do what's right, not necessarily what's popular with others, which is generally pretty good advice. And what's trust? Yeah, we just pretty much just want the Laban and the Simbani people to trust us. And that is one thing about the game that's kind of interesting, particularly with the Simbani people, is if you do hang around and do talk to them more, you'll actually become a little more integrated into society, because and you can actually stay away from them and not have that develop. So that's one kind of interesting thing about the game. They're telling us not to use any magic. That's not really a big deal for us. All we have is just a healing ability, which I think we can bring up this way. Yeah. So you see, we only have one spell. That's our paladin ability to heal. So, but if you're a magic user, you really can't use it here. Otherwise, they're not going to trust you at all. And let's see what he has to say about his plans. And as he said, he's going back to talk to Grisha about the demons, and then he's telling us to stay here. And once again, this is sort of a different excuse as to why he's leaving and why we should stay. And I think we can actually get another excuse out of him later on. And so that's why he's staying till Tarna. Yeah, he wants to stay near his brother too, so he needs to talk to Grisha, stay near his brother, to try to help him stay out of war. He's talking, and Raja, obviously we know, is kind of a hothead and is very insistent about going to war, and so he thinks he can try to prevent that from happening if he's able to advise him or stay close to him. But that is, of course, the third reason he's given us for why he's abandoning us and why it's pretty much just up to us to solve the problems. But that's why we're the hero, and that's also why there's a game as well. So we will do our best, and Rakeesk will head out. I just asked about Uhura, and he's saying she can help us, but she can't go against the Laban. And this is actually somewhat interesting of a sequence of conversation in the dialogue tree, saying that she's a warrior and that she's sworn to obey the Laban. We asked him about being a warrior, and she said she became a warrior during the initiation ceremony a while back, and that's why she traveled to Shapir to have her child. And well, let's just ask about the initiation. And this is kind of a hint that we actually have to do this. I don't know if it comes up for some of the other characters. Only the fighter and the paladin really have this ability to actually go through the ceremony, and I think you actually have to do it. You don't have to succeed, but you do have to do it in order to get to trigger some of the final events of the game. And that's kind of an interesting thing in this game, and we'll see more of that, and we'll see we have to train for that. So some of that might take place off video, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. We'll ask about the trials. Yeah, he's telling us how there's different trials, and those are things we have to train for, or some of them we can train for, some of them you just kind of have to be kind of clever, or know what to do at least. And if you actually are successful, you become a Simbani warrior. And so we're going to try to do that, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the game. And the competition is pretty much just what we've been talking about, but we'll be competing against another person, and we'll see if we can win it, and we will try to do so. The status thing's just talking about how she had to go back to Shapir to have the child, and we already knew that. It was kind of interesting that nobody seems to have a problem with just leaving and doing that, but there's a problem in having a child here. But that's not really, I guess, all that relevant to the game. Sort of relevant to the subplot of the last game. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all we have to talk to Rakeesh about, so next time we'll just sleep, Rakeesh will leave, and then we'll start off and see what we can see in the Simbani village, and maybe go out to the savannah and get some action going. So I appreciate you tuning in for this edition, and hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see you for, I believe, part 12. So that's all for now.